the 4 stages that any habit goes through: cue, craving, response, reward. So there's some type of cue or raw data that gets your attention. Then you predict or interpret that data in some way, which motivates you to act, take a response, and then somehow that behavior either benefits you or does not benefit you. And that's what gets you to close the feedback loop and update your prediction for the next time and decide if you want to continue that. All behaviors, those that are repeated, serve us in some way. I guess we'd say all habits serve you in some way.
Yeah.
And one way to think about this is that every behavior produces multiple outcomes across time. So if you take a bad habit or an unhealthy habit like eating a donut or something, the immediate outcome is favorable. It's sugary, it's tasty, it's enjoyable in the moment. That's how it serves you. That's the reason why you repeat it. The ultimate outcome, if you repeat that every day for the next 3 months or year or whatever, is you end up gaining weight or you're less healthy or so on. For good habits, it's often the reverse. Right? Like sometimes, the benefit of going to the gym in many people's eyes is the immediate outcome is unfavorable. Sweat, I have to work, it's effortful, it's hard, I need to sacrifice. I don't get to watch TV, I got to go there instead. So the immediate outcome is unfavorable. The ultimate outcome, if you repeat that habit for 2 months or a year or whatever, is you're fit and healthy. And this is one of the key challenges of building good habits and breaking bad ones, is figuring out ways to take the long-term consequences of your good habits or of your bad habits and pull them into the present moment. So you feel a little bit of the pain right now, so it serves you less. And to take the long-term rewards of your good habits and pull those into the present moment so it feels good. And this is one reason why, it's great to choose, like, what's the best form of exercise? Well, maybe it's the one that you enjoy, because if it feels good in the moment, now it serves you and you have a reason to repeat it. In order to change behavior, design it in any meaningful way, you need to be aware of it first. But usually when people become aware of their habits or think about them, like you might smoke or bite your nails or something on autopilot. But then if you start to think about it, well, you feel guilty about it. You start to judge yourself. As soon as you start to judge yourself, then you're not in a great position to change, because what ends up happening a lot of the time, this has happened actually with a couple of campaigns that have tried to scare smokers into not smoking by showing them pictures of blackened lungs, or scare obese people into not eating as much by talking about the detriments of being overweight. What happens is people get really anxious and stressed. They feel guilty and worried, and then they resort to their preferred habit for dealing with that, which means they end up smoking more or eating more or whatever. So, yes, I think there is a benefit to looking at it in an unemotional, forensic way. And one way to do that is to say there are no good or bad habits. There are just behaviors that serve you in a particular way, and the goal is to try to find a behavior that serves you in a better way. Right. I still use the term good and bad because I think implicitly most people know what we're talking about when we say that, and we use it in everyday conversation. But from a practical standpoint, it's just the effort and energy used judging yourself and feeling guilty about things is not well spent or productive. And so if that is a way that helps people get over that, then I think that's useful. Action can actually deliver a result. But motion is related to that, but never will. Like going to the gym and talking to a personal trainer about signing up. That's fine. That's related to getting in shape, but it doesn't matter how many times you talk to a personal trainer, you're never going to get in shape. Whereas like doing 10 squats, that actually can do something. It's like talking to the trainer is motion, doing squats is action. I think a lot of times people get trapped in motion. They get trapped in analysis paralysis, because it is a way to feel like you're making progress without running the risk of failure.
Right. And it's more complicated and nuanced than that, because going and talking to the trainer is an important step if you've never done anything like that before.
Yeah. Well, and that's the hard thing, is it's not like you shouldn't do it. It's just that it's not the only thing you should do.
If that's the thing, if that doesn't create the momentum to take the additional step and set in motion a consistent flow of repeatable actions over time, then
this is why I think identity is such a crucial issue with habits, is that true behavior change is really identity change, because you're not really looking to go from the type of person who doesn't run to the type of person who can run a 5K. That's fine. That's good. It's the outcome. But the goal is not to run a marathon. The goal is to become a runner. The goal is not to write a book. The goal is to become a writer. And once you identify as that type of person, in a sense, you're not even really pursuing behavior change anymore. You're just acting in alignment with the type of person that you already believe that you are.
Right.
You know, it's like one thing to say, I want this. It's something different to say, I am this.
Yeah. You write a lot about this, and we can drill down on goals and the importance or lack thereof of goal setting. But ultimately, what really moves the needle is making a decision about the person that you want to be and starting to construct your life in a way that reinforces that identity that you idealize in yourself. So it's less about a finish line, and it becomes all about process and the journey.
I think that's right. You know, like what I said earlier about how habits are a method to embody a particular identity. That's really what we're looking to do here is how do I become the type of person that embodies this each day? Mm-hmm. How do I become the type of person who doesn't miss workouts? And that's another reason I like small habits, because if you have a really busy day and things are crazy and all you can do is 5 push-ups, if you're oriented around the result, around the outcome, it's easy to dismiss that. It's like, well, why would I even bother doing 5 push-ups? It's not going to get me in shape. But some days it's not about the result of the training. Some days it's about reinforcing being that type of person. You know, like, yes, life was crazy and things were really busy today, and the best I could do was getting 5 push-ups in, but I'm still the type of person who doesn't miss workouts, even when it's not ideal.
Right.
And in the long run, that can count for a lot, which is the kind of twisted thing about small habits, which is that even though they're small, they can still be meaningful. And if they're meaningful, they actually are big.
Yeah. And that really gets at the foundation of this whole thing, which is that every great achievement is about small habits ultimately. And, you know, as in this culture in which we live, it's all about, you know, shoot for the moon and like set these huge goals and be audacious and find the shortcut and all of that. But every successful person will tell you it's about the tiny little imperceptible, non-sexy things that they do every single day and have been doing for the last 10 or 20 years that got them from wherever they came from to the place that everyone aspires to be.
The crazy thing is habits are like the foundation for mastery in any area. And it's often the people who are at the peak of a particular area that have the best habits, that have like the most things automated and dialed in. You know, imagine, I always think of the story of Josh Waitzkin, who wrote The Art of Learning. Mm-hmm. And he gave an example of he's doing, you know, Thai push hands, this martial art. And when I think about doing something like that, I'm like, all right, I'm going to be grappling with this person. Like, you know, I'm fully engaged on the wrestling component. But he had practiced it so many times and knew all the moves so well that he was able to more or less put that part of it on autopilot, and he would just focus on his opponent's eyes. And when they were getting ready to blink, then he would make his throw. And that was like how he found his advantage. That, to someone like me who hasn't done that, that sounds insane that you could even like get to that level. Mm-hmm. But the point is, in order to master any area, he has already habitualized everything else. He knows how to do the throws on autopilot. He knows where his feet should be on autopilot. He knows where his weight should be shifted. And because all of that is habitualized, he actually has the mental capacity available to focus on the thing that makes the last tiniest bit of difference at the highest level. Brett Favre, late in his career, and there was a particular crossing pattern. This guy's running across the field, and the linebacker was interviewed after the game who was defending against the pass, and he was like 999 times out of 1,000, every time this play is run, based on my positioning, the pass is going to be going in front of the linebacker. And so he saw the play and read it and jumped up to intercept the pass. And Favre somehow implicitly noticed all of this and threw it behind him and hit the receiver in stride, and they ended up getting the first down in this big play.
Right. And all happening in a microsecond.
Yes. All of this is, you know, for the average person, you'd stand out there in the middle of the play and it just would look like chaos. Everybody's moving around so fast. And stories like that, and like Alex and these other ones that we're telling, the only way that you can get to that level of, the only way he could even notice that is because every other thing about that play was already on autopilot. Mm-hmm. He had run it so many times that he could see the one thing that was different and make the adjustment on the fly. And those stories, of course, are incredible and inspiring, but they also make me realize that I don't know many people fully understand what it takes to be at the top of a field like that. You have to literally live it so that you can internalize all that stuff. I mean, the higher that you get on the curve, it's like the less margin for error that there is. and you need to work. I mean, Olympians will work for 4 years to shave off 2/100ths of a second. And that you have to have that level of commitment because when you're going against the world's best, the margin is so small.
Right.
And yeah, anyway, I think habits play a central role in that. I think that they are crucial because the more that you can habitualize, the more you free up your mind to focus on the things that could make that last bit of difference.